Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, and back for another video on Marvel's Strike Force. Today, we're going to be talking about something that might be dipping into spoiler territory. So I'm going to be putting this out here early on. If you don't want to watch the video, feel free to click off. We're going to be talking about what could be some upcoming characters to Marvel Strike Force from the What If Season 2. And the reason why I think this is a extremely high likely probability is because, well, we got a couple of characters last year, or a year and a half ago, whenever it was, for What If Season 1. I also want to talk about some of the other characters that have come to other Marvel games recently from What If Season 2. And I want to go over each of the episodes and kind of go over who I think might be coming to the game and what's likely. So if you're ready to go, give you time to kind of, well, we got the intro. You can shut it off if you don't want to watch this. Let's boil this down. Okay. Oop, not that one. So before we get started on it, though, I wanted to go back and show you guys the stuff that's going on with season 1, kind of what happened from What If. Whew, all the way back over here, which I guess would have been about January of 2022. So I guess it's been almost 2 years now, not a year and a half. So we had T'Challa Star-Lord. Now, you guys might know. Fortunately, he didn't really kick off too much. Like, we kind of used him. I kind of used him. And some of us used him in Dark Dimension 5 to get Dormammu because he was a cheap build for Tech back when, Tech was pretty. There wasn't really a whole lot of great characters. And he was a decent character. He had some decent mechanics. He had some ability, energy, steal on the blind, which was kind of fun. But he was very squishy. And nobody really wanted to build minions, right? And this was at the time when basically we had maybe built Ravager minions because of the Archangel Scourge, which was like just a patch. Oh, no, actually, it wasn't even that way. Sorry, I'm getting confused. Okay, so I guess we would have later on had used those Ravagers for the Archangel Scourge. So those who did build Ravagers were in a pretty good position. That's what I meant to say. And then later on, basically, we did end up getting what I call it's Evil Strange or Strange Heartless, who played a very big role in season 1 and played a very big role in season 2, for those of you who had played it. So those were the two major characters that we had got that were specifically from What If. We also got an Ultron costume from the Infinity Armor or Ultron version, which is pretty cool. A really cool costume, actually. And so there is something that I think we'll get into that I think that we could have some costumes as well. But I think that we'd be looking at least 2 characters. And I want to talk about characters that are specific to What If Season 2. Not characters who are kind of like already Marvel characters who could likely come out, because that could happen too. But I want to talk about specifically characters from this season. It was great. Honestly, I had a lot of fun watching it. And if you haven't watched it and still watching the video, go watch the video. Go watch the season 2. It's great. So we're going to go one by one through some of the episodes, talk about some of the major characters that were in there, and whether or not I think that that is a probability or not. Now, first episode, of course, actually, we'll just jump straight to the first episode. What if Nebula joined the Nova Corps? So this one was actually a lot of fun. I really liked this episode. It was a great way to start off the season. And of course, the major you might not be able to see this very well, but you basically get Nebula wearing Yondu's costume, and she has the Aka arrow, and you basically behind is Howard the Duck, Groot, and Korg. So this could be a really, really fun team. And I think that Nebula is a character that is popular enough to probably see a new version of her come to the game. Tech is, notoriously underserved usually in Marvel Strike Force, so this would be a great way to do that for her. But a different version of her that kind of plays on a different team, insert whatever team it might. I don't know what game mode it would be necessarily, and that's not what I'm here to talk about. But a very, very, very cool version of Nebula. Also, we could get Howard the Duck anyways, but Howard the Duck is already a Marvel character, so this wouldn't specifically be a release for What If that happened. But great episode. It just really knocked it out of the park. The second episode, What If Peter Quill attacked Earth's mightiest heroes? Now this is like, I was gonna say Baby Quill, but it's like Peter Quill as like I don't even think he's a teenager. I think he's like 10, 9. I don't know. He's super young. And as far as the characters in there, you could get like I want to call him Baby Quill, but I don't think that we'd probably get that character. But there are other characters who, again, aren't they are Marvel characters in their own right. So they're not necessarily what if characters, I think, because they are already existing people in it. So I don't know if that would count. But we do have Hank Pym as a giant man, I think, in this instance. I forget what they actually called him in that. We have King T'Chaka, who is T'Challa's father. We have Goliath, who was I believe it was that guy in Ant-Man and the Wasp, the guy I forget the actor's name, but anyways, that was him there. And we have Wendy Lawson. I think this is Wendy Lawson under the Kree Force from the Captain Marvel movie, the person who was in that, but like she died or whatever. And so it was a pretty cool. And there's Winter Soldier actually in there as well. But there you go. There's another version of them. You can see them all suited up. That was from episode 2. They were all fighting Peter Quill and then Ego for a while. Ego's probably something that we're not going to see, and that's not a what if. He's just a big badass that's going to be in the game at some point, I would think, as a mega boss, maybe as part of the battle world eventually. That would be kind of fun. What if episode 3. Now, this one was good. What if Happy Hogan saved Christmas? So we have Happy Hogan, who injected the Hulk serum, basically, and he turned it into like what looks like a pink Hulk or like a pink Abomination. He pretty much looks like Abomination, but pink, in my opinion. But I thought it was really cool because I don't know if we'd ever actually see Happy Hogan come to the game as Happy Hogan, but this could be more likely. And he goes off against Justin Hammer and just some other randoms in that episode. But I do think that the look is pretty cool. A new bio character if they want to bring to the game, of course, so that could happen there. So I think so far we're probably looking at Nebula and Happy Hogan, but they could always build a team around these characters that use some of the characters from the episodes, like like the Nebula Yondu costume, Nebula Nova, or whatever they want to call her, sorry, with the team around her from other characters. We do need a rework really bad for Groot. Guardians and Nebula could be a Guardians as well, but they could just have their own tag. Honestly, they really did that team a bit dirty, especially the Guardians of the Galaxy is what I'm referring to. So the other one, Iron Man crashed into the Grand Master. Now, I think this was an episode that was supposed to be in the first season, because really all this was about was talking about Gamora, basically the whole thing with Gamora, and it's like this Gamora from season 1 at the end. I think they skipped this episode from season 1 for whatever reason. So I don't think this is a true season 2 episode, because this actually had no relevance to the rest of the season. For those of you who watched it, feel free to let me know in the comments down below if I messed it up. But otherwise, there wasn't really anyone in here that's probably worth adding to the game, I don't think. So this one was okay. What if Captain Carter fought the Hydra Stomper? This is bringing Captain Carter back into the series here. And we had this version of Steve Rogers as the Hydra Stomper. And this could be an interesting way to add a new character into Hydra, to rework Hydra. If they wanted to do that, I think that would probably be my biggest bet there, is because he was like an undercover, a sleeper agent, basically, after what happened in the episode and in the timeline. So Hydra tag, whatever traits that you'd want to have. Kind of basic of a character, honestly. It's like skinny Steve Rogers, without the super soldier serum, but it is what it is. Like, I don't know if I'm super excited about seeing that if that were to happen, but that is an option there. And then we have, what if Kahori reshaped the world? Now, this is a pretty big one that people are talking about, because she is a brand new character that was brought out for What If Season 2. And honestly, I thought her powers were really cool. And I liked the episode and all the other episodes, the finale that had her in it as well. So she kind of has, and her background is definitely the background that I would see them add to Marvel Strike Force and in Marvel in general. So she is from a Mohawk native. In Canada we call them First Nations. I don't really know what they refer to them in America as, so my apologies. I hope this doesn't offend anyone, but yeah, from Mohawk, the Mohawk Nation. And she has this like super speed, which kind of looks like Quicksilver. I'll be honest, like at first I thought the power looked like kind of Quicksilver, the way he runs really fast. And then she's able to, I guess, manipulate energy as well, I think. I just want to double check here what they call it. Cosmic enhancement from the Tesseract's energy. Like, you basically see like blue energy come out of her. She uses it in all sorts of different ways. So superhuman speed, durability, strength, energy projection, I'm pretty sure is on there. Cosmic energy manipulation, all sorts of things. So really, and she's someone, and I want to bring this up right now, someone that has been added to Marvel Future Fight. And so these are the characters that Marvel Future Fight added in December, actually before all of the episodes even came out. So they did add Nebula Yondu, or what it Nebula Nova, I think is what they called her. Kahori. This one we'll get to it. Is Hela, and this one is Wenwu from that same episode. So they had 4 different characters here. Again, I could see about 2 or 3 different characters being added to Marvel Strike Force. Not all on the same team, but I could see them having like 2 different teams like that. Honestly, I think the models look really cool, and I don't play Marvel Future Fight, but I still think that this version of Nebula looks really badass, and I would love to see that come to Marvel Strike Force. But we had what if Hela found the 10 rings? So that was basically this, and she did end up using that later in the episode. Wenwu obviously was the owner of the 10 rings, and then Wenwu and Hela basically went up against Odin in that episode, and she learned some stuff, martial arts and stuff from the place, from the Shang-Chi movie and things like that. I forget the name of the place, but that's what ended up happening there. Her costume, Hela's costume, is really badass. These would probably be mystic characters, but I think that they look really cool, and I would love to see how Marvel Strike Force does the animations for characters like this if they brought them in. I wouldn't want to see just a Hela costume in this instance. It wouldn't make sense, and so it would have to be a brand new character. I think that I don't know how popular Wenwu is. Wenwu, I don't know if he's really that popular of a character, so I don't know if they would really bring him into Marvel Strike Force despite them bringing into Future Fight. But I think that Hela is for sure. And then I think we have to have Kahori, right? You kind of have to bring Kahori into Marvel Strike Force. I think that's like a given at this point. So I think that we will see her for sure in 2024. We could see her as a standalone plug and play character. That could, because I don't know where you would really add her. She's a brand new OG character to the MCU, and I don't know what they're going to do with her. So I think that a plug and play character would make sense, and they could do that. They tend to do this around middle of the year, when they kind of released Quicksilver, which was, I believe, in April or May. So I could see them doing this for Kahori as well. So that would be really awesome. And then Nebula would probably have her own team. Hela might have her own team. And then there was, we had the the second to last episode, which was what if the Avengers assembled in 1602? I don't know. There were some cool costumes, honestly, but it was just basically all the Avengers characters just in 1602 London. And it was interesting, I guess, but honestly, that would probably just be a source of different costumes for the different characters. There wasn't anyone like out of the blue that I would say is completely different as far as their powers go. We had more of like a swashbuckler Bucky thing going on, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. So I guess, but mostly I would say it's a costume based thing. And then we had the final episode, What If Strange Supreme intervened, and that had a whole crap load of characters, but frankly, a lot of it was just some of the characters that we had already been introduced to, namely Kahori and Captain Peggy Carter. Had a crazy good costume. I know that Rebirth is on its way out, but there's like an Infinity War armor. I don't even think there's a photo of it, but if you've seen the episode, you probably know what I'm talking about. But it was like the Infinity armor that was worn by Killmonger in season 1, and Captain Carter dons that, and it looks insane. And it looks amazing. I'd love to see that in Marvel Strike Force, but unfortunately, like I said, Rebirth is on its way out. So we get little value out of it because Captain Carter won't be used once Hive Mind, really. And even now, I don't really use her as much anymore. But it is what it is. I still love to see it as a costume like they did for Ultron. That'd be really great. But let me know in the comments down below who you would really love to see from What If. I think they're kind of right here on Marvel Future Fight. I think that we'd probably get Kahori and Nebula. I think those are the 2 most popular ones, but I would love to see Hela. I don't really care about Wenwu. The other characters, though, I would love to see a team around them. Namely, I think Howard the Duck. We need Howard the Duck, right? We absolutely need Howard the Duck. And so I would love to see her, because I'm not a big fan of Nowhere. And I know that they haven't been out very long, but I would love, Gambit got a new team, so who knows? Maybe we can see this team here. Nebula, Howard the Duck, Korg, Groot, 2 reworks for Korg and Groot, and then, I don't know, maybe we can add a new character. I don't know what other 5th character. They'll just throw someone in randomly and call it a day. That's fine, too. I can always use Gamora in there, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? But, I would love to see that. I think that's probably the best thing to come. Let me know what your thoughts were of this as you watched it as well. I love that they kind of released it so I could binge watch it, like, over the holidays here, between Christmas time and whatnot. Great season, and I look forward to more of the MCU as well to kind of guide our some of the releases. And they do actually use a fair bit when it comes to the MCU. They usually do at least 5 or 6 characters from the MCU. I just want to kind of take a look at what happened in 2023. We did have Kang the Conqueror. I think that was honestly still a MCU related release at that point. We did have, let's see, maybe not Gwenpool, Nova. What was happening at that time? Honestly, my brain's melting a little bit, so maybe there wasn't that many. But they do tend to use a fair bit. I think it was a bit light in 2023 as far as like movie content goes. But yeah, anyways, let me know in the comments down below what you think and what kind of characters that you would love to see come to Marvel Strike Force in 2024. I think it won't be too long until we see something personally. I think within the next 3 or 4 months, we'll probably see at least one of them, and it very well could be Kahori. So until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see y'all later. Boilon signing out.